just as it feels like there is a change in the weather. We will open with karakia up on the screen. Feel free to join us. Kia tau mai te maramatanga. Kia tau mai te rangimarie. Kia tau mai te kaha me te whai whakaro tēnei kaupapa. Koe tā kie. Let's be grounded in clarity. Let's be peaceful. Let's be strong and considerate for this purpose. Bind together, and so it is. So just introducing to my right, Mr. John Ridd. Will be, oh, my right's over here. My left. You're on my right.
Yep.
Mr. John Ridd, who is our executive. No, what are you?
Yep. So
Executive
I'm
officer.
just here to support you guys.
He's our new officer. He's our new Richard Kirby. Kelsey McLean. We have got Tony Strange and Grant Rubin and Paul Egan joining us. So they will be speaking throughout the meeting.
And
On the we don't have any staff on Zoom, but just for everybody's information, our meetings are recorded and you can find them on YouTube under Tasman District Council Motueka Community Board meetings. We do have media present online today, so they might get a good story out. And what else do we need to say about that? In the event of emergency, we just exit out this door into the car park, the wharepaku, the toilets is through that door here. Please help yourself in the gallery. There's hot drinks, water and nibbles up on the table, on the bench. Please help yourselves.
I need more.
Oh, someone send board member Hughes another plate.
No, I'm joking.
Okay, so we have got apologies from Councillor Dowler. Can I please move? I'll move a seconder, please. Yep. Seconded by Deputy Hart. And can we please move any declarations of interest on the table? Any late items? And can I please have a mover and seconder for confirmation of last month's minutes? Moved by Councillor Maru, second by Board Member Hughes. Thank you. Okay, so we will move into public forum and then we will jump to discretionary fund. So in our public forum, we have got 3 speakers. First up is Jeff Rowling. Jeff, you've spoken here before, so you're familiar with the procedures, and I'll just have my timer on, gives you an indication where it fires up, but no biggie.
yeah, I've only got 3 short questions, but I've heard that said before at meetings.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was in this room the other day, Saturday, with the forum, which is sort of trying to tie planning and hazard issues and all sorts of stuff together. But the last time I was here, I asked about the board and its position on supporting or otherwise for the Motueka section of the Urban Growth Plan Change 81, and that's really why I'm here today, is just to tease out whether any decisions have been made about that or otherwise.
So you can't respond at this stage. You can present the question, and when we get into the board report, the board will have a discussion.
So the next question would be whether, if not, has the board chosen to support any other alternatives? Because I was a bit surprised to discover after I was here last time that an advertisement, as it was labelled, appeared in the Guardian and had a picture of several smiling faces of members of the council and members of this board. And that left me a little bit taken aback that I don't sort of want to get it, I appreciate there's you're not allowed to criticise, but it just left me a little bit stomped that members of the community board would find themselves in that position. The other issue coming up from the Saturday meeting was really about, and it's tied in with this other stuff, is whether the board's given up on protecting Motueka on its present site, because there are the number of challenges, one of which may even be tested this coming weekend. I suspect if we get enough wind, we have got reasonable sized tides, so it could give the shoreline a bit of a tickle up. So I'm just interested to hear whether the community board's got involved in the issues that have been raised by the threats of the so-called natural hazards, and whether we are going to get involved in it, because my point of view on it is that I've got families got a wee bit invested here. We've been here since 1841, so there's a connection with the place that has seen it grow over the years. I think when it comes to doing business in Motueka, the crucial bits of business like doctors, dentists, accountants, and chemists and stuff like that, it's one of the few places that I know that you can sort of drive and park your car in one place, and within about 3 minutes walking, you've got the whole lot. There ain't too many places you can do that. So, it's just that kind of infrastructure are pretty difficult to replicate in this day and age. I think it's worth fighting. If it's the sea that we have to fight, I don't think that's too big a deal, really. We have a pretty good understanding. So yeah, I'll give you those 3 questions. So yeah, that's really all I've got to say.
Did you receive my email from the last time that you spoke?
Yeah.
Yep. So just sort of indicating in that there would be there was a site visit by several members of the board, and that there was going to be an article, but I wasn't too sure what it was going to be. So hoping that got to you before it went out.
It was an article written by the media. People would have an opportunity to respond to it. But when it's labelled an advertisement and it's written by the people that are involved in it, or the paid employees, there is no opportunity for us for the public to have a say. It's simply what's written in there. I won't start picking holes in that, otherwise we'll be here all day, but there's a fair amount of it I would refute. So yeah, I just think it's left a number of us in a rather difficult position. But it's not a role that I want to take on to criticise the democratic organisations that we have in our area, but it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming to present another side of the opinion. Like I said last time, has anyone got any questions or point of clarification? No? Okay, so we'll discuss this in the board section of the meeting, and then I'll email you back if you're not here to hear what's discussed.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so we have got Dr. Robert Mitchell going to speak about Plan Change 81 and Plan Change 85 effects. No. And you're familiar with our public forum, I think. Yeah. When you're ready.
Almost any excuse. Well, thanks very much for the opportunity. I'll just refresh or explain. I've been here for about 4.5 years, 5 years, so I'm still a listener. But I know a bit about the place now, and I like it. I think it's got tremendous potential. And I've got experience in local government as well, from a consulting point of view and actually working in local government. And I know the problems about dealing with Wellington. And so it was very interesting hearing about Plan 81 on Saturday from the planner's point of view, and then going away and thinking about it from a resident's point of view and from a council point of view, and how the hell do you deal with Wellington when they want to get something through before the next election? Anyway, so we were handed out, well, the council very kindly has produced this brochure about, I also thought that Mr. Luxon might have written a pamphlet for you, Planning for Growth. Then I went in and tried to find out what growth was. And the definition of growth just wasn't there. So I was really troubled about this. What we've got is a plan for increased housing with beautification of the housing area, no discussion about infrastructure, the pressure that's going to come on to the existing infrastructure by this increased housing. There's no statement of costs, no consideration about the residents' interest in helping finance this, or understanding how council is going to shoulder the burden of what's been foisted on them by Wellington. So I thought there's a really good opportunity here for talking about partnership. Where's the partnership between local government and Wellington? Anyway, so we've got a space objective that's been dealt with. We've got beautiful housing that's been proposed, and we understand that the staff have got expertise, international expertise. They've tapped that, and so we've got really good information on how beautiful it will look. But after that, it falls apart. It really falls apart. And I'm wondering how this community board can go back to council and say, we've got to really talk to the community about this, and we've really got to work out a proper, well-financed, realistic process. And it doesn't have to take place in 18 months. It has to take place over 10 years or whatever, okay? It's got to take into account climate change as well. It's got to take in renewing the existing infrastructure that's been put in place over 100 odd years and needs replacement. We can't just have everything in the new big pipes funneling into the old pipes. They're just going to explode. So I was really troubled, and I just wanted to come along and share a few of these basic problems, and I want to put them on the record. And so I'll be writing submission about these gaps in the plan. It's great to have spatial plans, but where's the dollar and where's the infrastructure? So anybody got any questions?
The expertise you were talking about, who are you referring to? Consultants or?
The international expertise that you referred to.
The international expertise, the plan has talked about, they've tapped people on the quality of housing, but you're going to have double story jammed up. We've got talking about, there's no talking about community facilities. There's no talking about green space. There's no talking about incentives for commercial businesses to consolidate to better service this increased population. There's so many gaps in it, you could drive a bulldozer. So there's got to be a lot of route shopping, I would say. And there's a lot of expertise in the community, and I reckon we could come up with a lot better solutions than just looking at one channel. So I haven't got too emotional. But
Another question from board member Hughes.
Have you heard of Project Kokuri?
no, I haven't, but I'm happy to read
Yeah,
about it.
have a look at it.
Well, how does that relate to Motueka?
It relates to the area. It sort of maybe explains what's sort of going on.
Well, it's a pity it wasn't in the brochure, and it's a pity we didn't get more of it on Saturday. I'll be contacting the planning department and seeking more background information before I write my submission. But thanks for that.
Yeah, appreciate you coming to share that insight. I wasn't able to get to Saturday, and we haven't really, the board hasn't been involved in any workshops in this space yet. So we do look forward to entering that and hearing from the community. And I 100% agree with tapping into the community for feedback and input, because you know what's needed here. And yes, it'll be interesting to follow up on the expertise sought. Thank you. Mr. Williamson.
Lady Chair and members of this meeting, to the public. In a recent issue of the Press newspaper, in large heading writing was this title to the article which followed: Second Ashburton Bridge to receive full government funding. That was the advert for the article with the title. There was some idea of that published. Surely our Motueka Bridge meets a similar criteria of being an essential bridge coping with traffic from and to Takaka, Kaiteri, Rawaka, and involving heavy truck and trailer units, cars with caravans or boat trailers attached, and camper vans, etc. It is also on part of State Highway 60. Number 2, in the recent March 25th Press newspaper, an article titled Proceeds of Crime Fund to Reopen After Freeze Period. It mentioned a pool of money seized from criminals and tagged for use in the fight against organised crime and drug-related harm has been taken by the government. This is about to change, and the Minister of Justice, Nicole McKee, told staff that the fund would reopen to applications next week, with new criteria focusing on supporting initiatives that will reduce violent crime. As at February the 18th this year, the fund's balance was $12.5 million. And the judge said, I do hope we get our fair share. What I noticed in the press several days after I'd written this report ready to give, it stated that our number on the column as to how we would stand in the use of methamphetamine in Tasman was number 4, and the highest one was Northland. Gave me rather a fright to think that here's Tasman area and we've got that high in our use of methamphetamine. Just what education is. Number 3, since last month's community board meeting and my request for toilet facilities to benefit walkers on our lovely tracks locally, an article has appeared in the press on the 24th of March showing a photograph and outlining various costings and payment options to consider. Maybe this could help our considerations for toilet facilities. And that's Thank you, Lady Chief.
Thank you. Was that from the board? Thank you, Mr. Williamson.
Thank you very much.
Now, just before we move on to discretionary fund, I had neglected to also welcome and introduce. We've obviously got Mr. Grant Knowles from Over the Hill, who'll be popping out early because he's got an opening to presentation to get to. And our youth councillor that's representing the youth council today is Taylor Tuki. So welcome. When we get into the board section, there's a youth council section you're welcome to speak to, and let us know what you're up to then. Okay, so discretionary fund. We have my agendas and upside down, sorry, I'm sorry, I could be with. What page? Oh, page 11. Oh, okay, so page 11, 8.3. So we've got Casey and Chloe. If you guys want to pop up now, so they put an application in last month. It's moved forward to this month, and they're just going to talk to us a little bit about what they require their funds for. Welcome.
Hello, I'm Casey. This is Chloe.
Hi, nice to
We're
meet you.
from Tone with Casey and Chloe. We are a donation-based fitness class here at Motueka at the Memorial Hall. And yeah, we're just wanting to upskill a little bit and
Get first aid course.
yeah, that's mainly what we've done.
We've got majority of our people that come along are about 60 plus, and we would just like to have a bit of backup in case anything did happen. So we're looking at trying to get a first aid course each and a first aid kit to be in our
And,
classes.
Yeah,
We're quite established now, which is quite cool. We're doing 3 classes a week,
we've been running for about 3 years now, so
and
we just love to get the town moving. It's real community-based and yeah.
donation only, so it's just all about, getting people moving without financial struggle or anything like that stopping them. So
Awesome. No, I love that. And I've seen your guys sign out on Parr Street and
all
social
over
media.
Facebook as well. We're
Yeah.
everywhere. at the
So
minute.
it's good. And I totally support, physical activity and well-being for the community. So
Thank you.
I'm happy to move if there's any other questions from the board or if I can have a seconder.
I have to declare a couple of issues.
So,
Doing it too well.
Yeah, we
okay, so carry that conflict over from last month. So moved by me and seconded by councillor Walker. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone again? Carried.
Oh,
Well,
thank you.
council will be in touch with you.
Thank you for the
All the
opportunity
best.
to be here.
No worries. Thanks for coming.
You seeing your sign, maybe one day I'll actually go.
You guys should come.
Everyone's welcome.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I went in the first one.
Please be right here.
Okay, so we're going to finance first. I've got this annual plan first. Do you want to jump to finance? Well, Paul, you're doing both, aren't you? So if you want to come on up. And what would you like to start with, the annual plan proposal or the finance report?
We can start with the finance report. Hopefully members have a copy with them.
Oh, is it-
So there's a finance report at the front, which sort of looks like this.
Oh, where in- no, I can get it on the screen. Just this report has come in a little bit late. So for members of the public, it will be available in the minutes as an attachment. Thank you.
My apologies for the lateness of the report, this combination of vacancy and illness, to being another person on food and addition. We got to eventually.
So on the report for the year to date March, it's tracking as previous reports. The big thing in there is that though we appear to be running a deficit of nearly $34,000 for the year-to-date March. That is actually based on a decision to spend some of the accumulated funds from prior years, which at the start of the year there was reserve funding of 228,000. So there had been sufficient funds built up over the previous years. So unless there was any questions there, that report was pretty much in line with prior months.
On the special projects expenditure, we've got army cadets at 64,000.
Sorry, that's
Yeah,
Just a formatting issue there, yeah.
so we,
Oh, so that's meant to be total.
So it's a total.
so what's the?
So the army cadets will have another line. You don't have that figure on your. 611. Thank you, Pete. Councillor Murray.
I'm just talking, no. It was obviously done very quickly, Paul.
yes.
Just proofreading your report.
I had to wait till this was back on deck.
What I'm expecting, sorry, Madam Chair, is
Yeah.
Motueka Army Cadets should read total. Because Army Cadets is in the discretionary fund. The keep. So the 611 that Board Member Hughes refers to looks like it's a
Is-
discretionary grant. It's listed there.
There's actually discretionary.
I don't think it's another 611 on top of the special
Right.
projects.
I do not recall it coming through as a special project.
No,
So it is captured. We've just got to tidy that up and
just put total down the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll tidy that up and send it through.
So so the 40, sorry, just getting onto special projects, is that where we're at on the financial? We were looking at bringing over 40,000 from spent, is that included in here?
That's included in the annual plan paper. That should be the next one I can discuss here.
Okay, thank you.
What about the other transfers that we put forward. Yeah.
Resolution of council to bring funds forward to increase discretionary budget
Yes.
and.
And then there was just within the general budget, which didn't actually need to go to council, but it was just shifting, so it was out of training and in general.
Yes, I suspect the question is that reflected in the current budget.
Yeah,
It didn't go to council.
past March, February.
February.
So I'm aware of a $40,000 for the annual plan for next year
No discretionary fund.
So, yeah,
and 40,000 for, is that in relation to the DEX reserve?
No, so to be honest, I cannot remember. But this was passed through council for this financial year, so I'm just.
It's from memory. It was the 40.
No, we passed one a few months ago and we went to council.
So what we passed a couple of months ago was the increase for discretionary funds. And also the money to come back over from training
For general,
to general expenses.
because there was a little bit of a shortfall.
Yeah.
I haven't got all of my stuff's in paper and they usually write, so I haven't brought them to give you the figures.
There have been some changes to the budget. So the training, there was a transfer of about $3,000 from the budget from there to discretionary, I believe. So that's been transferred over. There's a couple of other minor things there. So you'll actually see the full year budget is now $5,000 in deficit there. And that is because of some of those decisions to spend additional funds, which is coming out of prior year reserves.
Madam Chair. So it wasn't as much as I thought. So it was resolved in the Feb council meeting that approves transfer of $3,000 from the training budget to general board expenses and approves the transfer of $5,000 from the 2023 balance brought forward for discretionary funding. So it should have been $5,000 brought forward. That was
So you can see, so the $5,000 has been brought into the budget expenses there this year. So that's why. So it's like in holding now got $5,000 deficit here. So there's
No more money's coming in, but we're just using some of the prior year reserves.
So we've got a year-to-date budget of 10,668. Which includes the 5, is that right? Yep, the 5's in that.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes. We get an update of this so it actually is an accurate record, because as Councillor Murray said, this is obviously done very quickly. And I get that we've got a staffing vacancy and I get that we've had illness, but I don't get why the community board gets a substantial report which has got figures wrong and coding wrong. Will we get the correct, and that's not aimed at you personally, but will we get an updated accurate record on our files?
yes, so I think that's.
Thank you.
I'm just checking if. Okay, so based on the corrections that will be happening post-meeting, is anyone happy to move in second receiving the report? Okay, hold on. So Board Member Hughes?
Yep.
Is happy to receive which one?
We don't mind a few glitches.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yes.
And Deputy
Thank goodness
Chair,
I'm not running it.
second that.
We'll circulate the updated information.
Okay,
The man, hold off.
okay, let's leave it at that then. Okay, so do you want to move on to the plan proposal? So everybody else, that will be page 6, 8.2. I'll let you talk us through that, Paul.
Okay, so my summarisation of this report was that there was a request to increase the rate which funds the community board activities for the 2025-26 financial year. In preparing the budgets, it was found that that wasn't actually necessary because of the accumulated reserve funds that had been built up over a number of years. And that the increase in expenditure for the special projects of 40,000 for next year can be accommodated by using those reserve funds. So that held the rate increase down. Additionally, we've got an issue where board member remuneration is for next year. Next term isn't known yet. That's going to be going through the remuneration committee authority, sorry. And we have provided for that in the budget. And again, we could accommodate that through reserve without having to increase the rate sufficiently. So that was going to, on 5.3, just lead to a very slight increase in the rate from $15.36 to $15.69. So basically, reserve funds accommodated those proposed spending changes.
Is that how the 40K was derived based on trying to work out the difference? How did we come to 40K?
Right. So obviously I didn't write this report, but
No,
my
I think,
understanding
okay, I'm
was
just
that-
trying to figure out like when they were working through it, because we weren't part of these conversations, if it was about the difference between what we did used to charge to what we currently are to make that gap smaller, and if that's that came, or if it was just like 40K is good.
My understanding was that there was a request for an additional $40,000 for the special projects fund. So
For the annual plan
for the annual plan.
from the community board.
I presume so. I presume so.
Yeah, well, that's what I was.
Yes.
Well, so it's the rate will now just go to 15.60.
It's almost unchanged. So it goes from
So it's a few cents.
Yeah.
Oh, 15.69 from.
Yeah.
So my question then is, through the chair, is so was that a couple of terms ago it was $24, I think, and then it went to 19. Now it's gone to 15. Is that? I think I'm right with that. Yeah. So how do we provide the same level of service if we're from 24 to 15? And can we go back to 24?
my understanding is that the expenditure over recent years perhaps wasn't spending all the budgeted funds, and that's why we've accumulated the opening balance. So we got those reserve funds at the start of this year of about 228,000 from rates, essentially rates collected in prior years, which hadn't been spent. So maybe that part of it was delaying projects happening and stuff like that. So that's probably a common cause.
It is, and I believe some of that delay was due to COVID. So some of it was sort of flowed on, but we have lots and lots of projects that the community would like and that they've asked us for. So I feel like we're being penalised because we should still have it and still have that backlog to finish the projects that we couldn't complete. So
Yes.
I don't know what happened.
yeah, no, yes.
Haven't asked a question, like, so in concept, I support the resolution before you because the board has surplus funds. So at this stage, I can't recall where 40K came from other than Mr. Ogilvy presented saying if you increase the rate, you can do more. So you still have, depending on what report you have, $180,000 to $228,000 of reserves that you could ask to release more of that. But it's a closed account, so the rate we rate, if we're rating and not spending it, people are paying rates that they don't need to pay. And I don't think next year you probably need to increase the rate, but there is a mechanism that you could ask for more of that reserve money to be increased, but not just the rate. So the litter cart that we used to contribute to disappeared. The board's income relating to the market return fluctuates in terms of their percentage of market return. So there's some other variables in terms of just outside special project that affects the bottom line each year in terms of carryovers. So it's not just the rate. So I know the board could ask for more of the reserve funds because that is a close, it can only be used by this board.
Yes.
But to rate people, we've got a reserve, the board doesn't need a reserve.
So I guess
Absolutely.
my question through the chair is we've got a list of 18 projects that the community have asked us for, and we've got 198, whatever it is, in surplus. So why are we asking for 40? I'm lost, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think
We-
this is an old conversation, isn't it? So we can't quite remember where, if we
Yes,
came up
we've
with
got
that figure.
these projects that the community have asked us for, which we represent our community, but the money's sitting in a cupboard somewhere that we can't access, and we're just sort of getting it drip fed, and we can't complete these projects.
Yes, so obviously we do have some funds there, which have accumulated. To spend those funds, it's got to be resolved on by council effectively in the form of what the annual budget is. So that getting that approved. So council will approve the annual budget and the annual plan. So that becomes what you have available to spend. If you want to spend more, it's working to increase that amount that's in the budget to spend, which probably means developing that list of future projects there and trying to harden that up to and with which particular year phasing, estimated amounts and stuff like that. So my apologies, I wasn't involved in the budgeting for this, but that would be where I'd be going.
I just feel through the chair, there's a danger of us, if we get another 40 and then add our money in the cupboard is just going to keep rising, and we want to provide services to the community with that money.
Are we able to leave this on the table and actually have a discussion like with finance around building a portfolio of utilising that money, just so we've got a little bit more information? It's not going to affect, is it going to affect anything?
I think what I would say is that Paul and I, obviously, Paul's not written this.
No.
I'm, as you know, new, so we don't have necessarily the background unless our councillors have. So I'll suggest is maybe just hold it. We have a separate conversation. We'll come up with a little paper at the next board meeting.
It'd be good if the board are included in that conversation, just so that, because now that we're sort of aware and it's here, which is great, and I like that finance has looked at a way of trying not to increase the rate. We've got those funds, and we've talked about this several times.
Timeframes in terms of the annual plan process.
As far as not wanting to make an impact on rates as such, we're getting pretty close to the wire as far as our current draft. Obviously, there's a bit more work to do. If things are coming from reserve funds, that probably makes things easy. But yes, we'd want to get that probably squared away in the next month, I think, John. And maybe if it's projects, maybe those projects staggered over like 3 years, or there's some which will happen this year. You can see ones for next year and ones a year after. So there may be that horizon where it's not all happening in 1 year; it's actually happening over several years.
I think it's a great idea. Yes.
Just through the chair, we've been through the same thing over in the Golden Bay Community Board, and this exactly the same thing happened. It was money that we had in our reserves for special projects. The money then got put aside, and we kind of lost it, and we had to reapply for it through council. And I think that's I was just looking for through the council minutes to reapprove that. And for some reason, I thought that yours was also reapproved for your finances for the same thing. And we've just gone through the whole thing with 15,000 extra next year. It just is. So we've been a wee bit confusing, and I think it's probably a change of guard. And because I thought it was a special rate that we had on our rates. And I don't know if it's the same for you over here, but it's a special rate on the rates for the special projects, it's about $3 per household. Yours is gone? Okay,
Right, and then it's divided, wouldn't we?
yeah, but there was $3 within it
Aye.
for the special projects, and I think there was you used to get, what, $40,000 or $60,000, is that?
Yeah, true, I think we had a target rate of $3,
Yeah.
from memory.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's gotten a little bit confusing, and it might be good to workshop
Yeah,
to get that clarity back again, because I think we need to do the same a little bit. Yeah.
okay, is the board okay with that? Just leaving this on the table, we'll workshop that. John and Paul will have a convo and then we'll be looped in so we can have something.
Yeah.
Do I need a move to leave that on the table? I'll move to that. Else? Do I need a move? So, you got a
Can I
question?
just ask one question through you, Chair? So when it comes back to the workshop, will we get the details on how we've accumulated that much money? And I hear Deputy Chair's comment about COVID, but there's probably way bigger conversation around the capacity of what our staff can do when we bring special projects. Because as much as this board goes out, spearheads, does it, it has to be signed off from council. And I wonder how much of the process of not being able to deliver on all that money has been held up over there. So historically, I'd like to understand how we got to where we are, because it really doesn't reflect well when we're sitting on our community's money as like we're using them as our bank account, and I don't feel comfortable with that. And I don't know where the 40K come from, because, you know, we sit in so many meetings, it's very hard to keep up when they come and they go, these conversations. So the whole story at the workshop would be really helpful for me personally to understand the journey to get to making actually good, solid, informed decision at the next board meeting without throwing you under the bus because it's not your report and you're stuck here trying to speak to it.
Through the chair, thank you. But yes, I think it's one of those things which has sort of probably been hiding in plain sight to a degree. In the monthly, in the financial reports, there is a section where it does have the open balance and stuff like that, and the funds there. And unless you're looking for it, and perhaps definitely with the disruption of COVID, delays to projects and stuff like that, so from my understanding of the summary numbers over recent years, there has been a challenge to actually spend stuff, and all it takes is a delay or a project you're making a contribution gets delayed by some other reason, then that accumulates. So, but it is, I would recommend it as something to keep a strong eye on.
Okay, so I'll move that we leave this on the table till next month.
And we'll do a workshop between time.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Deputies second, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay, so we'll carry that. Thank you, Paul, appreciate that.
There's any questions on a report that you haven't written, I probably don't.
Thank you.
Fine. Page 19. Okay. So we are moving on to special projects. So that's page 19. So we'll invite Strange, Grant, you're welcome to come up too if you want. Okay. Over to you.
Going through the list.
So before you jump on, sorry, we have decided moving forward. So we've achieved a lot. Thanks to your team. What we will do is capture all of the special projects in a table. And once they're closed, we'll take the bulk of that off, but we'll have a table which Kelsey's going to work on at the end. So I don't know if I shared that database with you with the special project list of our own, trying to keep track of things.
That would be good, because I think, yeah, this was slightly, well, not out of date, but some can be closed.
Yes.
And there's some that require more feedback from the team. And there's one little mistake around the Memorial Park shade sale. That's right.
I drove past it, there was one there.
They're invisible ones, so you know,
Awesome.
yeah, it doesn't stop any sun.
No, no. I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah. So that's just that's just referring, I would say that's referring to the
poles.
the flagpoles. They've been,
So Councillor Bush's got something coming
Yeah,
through.
yeah. Sorry, Chair. I seem to be quite a negative person tonight, don't I? The report on the agenda that was sent out to us has got a different figure on it than this one that's tabled, which is the correct one.
figure for.
So if you look at X reserve, we've got a budget of 30K on the printout that came on my agenda, the electronic copy of my agenda.
Oh,
And
yes.
this one, there's 10K difference straight away on the first thing I look at. Sorry, but it's 10K.
Let me have a look at my database. Oh, Paul's here. He knows numbers.
Through the chair. Sorry. So the one updated today, the board has resolved in 2 tranches of funding. So there's a 30K resolution and there's a 10K resolution later for a total of 40K. So first resolution was in quite some time ago in 2020, and the second was in June 2023 for
So I see the dates there, but my question is, when I get sent this material, which I spend time reading and looking at prior to a meeting, then I get this handed out when I'm at the meeting. No dates on to tell me which one is the one that is correct. Just a point of clarification, it's quite misleading.
In
You've
my
got-
database as well.
Yeah. So I just feel a little bit uncomfortable that we've got 2 lots of figures.
Okay, Paul, do you mind restating? So there was 10,000. That was
10,000, which I understand was approved on the 15th of June 2023. Prior to that, there was 30,000 in 2020.
okay.
So, and I think,
Do you remember this?
Because we're talking 2 different projects. We're talking 30K youth council accessible playground equipment plus the 10K towards it. Because remember that was going to
Towards
Thorpe
the meadow.
originally. And then the accessible playground morphed into a bigger project.
Get that?
So I
Reporting
recall.
doesn't look transparent, does it?
No.
So the 30K
I thought
is
that was
for,
Oh, sorry.
what was the 30K for?
It was for the carousel. So that was for the purchase of the carousel that was originally going at Thorpe Bush.
Right. Okay, that's the one that came. But that was the original one. That was in 2020.
Yeah. And then there was an issue about putting it at Thorpe Bush because of not putting it there, and then
Yeah.
it was.
It's out, now it's here. Okay. So the total for the project was 40K. So this one is correct. Okay. Let's make it update, and I'll update my selection. Cool, thank you. Here's your work.
The debt reserve still has some small items that I'm gonna still complete, so I could just come back and update you on those,
Yeah.
like the bike racks.
Yeah.
Because it basically is closed. It's a completed project. But or would you rather keep it open? It's up to you if you want to do that table, and then we'll keep it there until the bike racks are in.
Yeah, I mean, as an overall project, the bike racks are part of it, but our part's ticked off.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
happy to leave it on. Yeah, any update, like last time you came and talked about some of the vandalism and stuff?
Yeah, there's still a little bit of that going on. I noticed that the tree stakes are all being busted, and it's just small things like that. But because it's under warranty, in terms of it's got a 12-year maintenance warranty,
wow.
I'll see if
Yeah,
I can
damn it,
just get
too.
that done. I'm not sure if they're going to
where vandalism, but let me see if I can tackle that. It's just, it's not major, but it's enough to, we still need those trees to be supported. So it's just
mainly, what about the equipment?
the equipment seems to be okay still. I mean, there was that vandalism on the basketball court, with the tagging.
Yeah.
And what else was there? Oh, just the drumsticks. But we're still trying to figure out a good solution for those drumsticks.
No more looking into cameras. I know that was
No,
spoke
well,
about
I
last
took your
time.
advice on, let's, see if we can do a little bit more education. I think you talked about that last time, and we don't like the idea of, surveillance either. There is some surveillance cameras out here that's on the community centre, but yeah, it's not ideal and it's not cost effective either, so in the current climate.
Through the chair, the playground has been left alone now. They're moving on to the town flags.
Oh, no, what about that?
They've damaged 4 of those, so the playground's probably a target.
Maybe you could apply to the Minister of Justice for the fund that is out there for more security cameras.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you'll update us.
Yeah,
in
I
that.
think it's just watching and seeing. If you can see anything, and please let us know. We're always out. Yeah, do that.
Okay.
So as I said, we can change the Memorial Park shade sale over the gym equipment. That'll be happening over the next 2 weeks. The big posts are in. And then the shade sails will be installed.
So that one is, okay, so number 12 on our
That's
list.
number 12. So that one's not completed, but we probably need to put in another one, which is, well, it's completed anyway. It's the flagpoles at the Motueka RSA site. It's completed.
Yeah. Okay, so the blue ones, but we actually didn't even have that on our list
No.
because it came in late. So we just need to add it on. And then put it straight into our complete. That's the Rewaka flag. No, Rewaka Memorial.
In time for
NZ. ×2. Okay, cool. Okay, so, sorry, so, eyesight's complete. I'll just jump back. So the Motueka Cemetery, that is complete. So these ones all moving to table. Now, Ted Reed Reserve, because there's nothing happening down there.
Unless I come back and say, what are the testing? So it's, the tests. Review.
My only concern with all of that testing is would that impact the current old, very good equipment that's there?
in terms of they're drilling holes, and I don't know how they do it actually, but
I know, but like,
don't imagine.
there was a site there and then they've gone way over the other side and nothing's happened. But I want to get to the point where it's like, actually, it can't be used.
Well, yeah.
It's about
Cap, and you can cap them and make them safe again.
Right.
It's not that it's not safe.
Okay,
It's just that we need to do the testing now too.
okay. Councillor Walker's got a question.
Thank you, through chair. So that Rewaka RSA project, it hasn't made it onto this particular template.
No.
Is the costings reflected on this that we got given tonight? So if it hasn't made it on here, has it made it to that part of the journey? Okay, so could I have somebody come back to the board to give us an answer whether the costings of that have been captured in any of the data that we've been trying to digest this evening? That's the first part. The second part is with the Ted Reed. Now that we've come across this little challenge, what is the costing of that? And does that blow the budget for what that special project was set to be for? And if it does, who makes the decision on where that goes moving forward?
through the chair.
Yep.
So it won't, the community board funded project won't be touched from putting in what you want.
Yeah.
The play equipment. Testing is outside.
What about never ending pit of money?
That's mine, so I feel.
And we don't reconcile those.
I'll be honest.
I like your honesty, thank you.
So the update of that is you're continuing to test.
Yes, I'll come back with more information on, with the tests of evidence, what the findings are, and then the result of that. So,
And an option if
Yeah.
it's negative.
well, I guess it's about what the options will be about having to cap
Yeah.
the larger areas. There's certain areas got enough cap to be able to handle play on it. It happens, across the country like that, but some areas might have to be capped more clay might have to be, provided. So, and it may mean that we might have to move, or should we move the playground to a different location with that reserve?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So,
The bridge, Deputy Chair, we were actually waiting for you to give us the sign.
Well, I'm a little bit confused as of the February meeting with this because it was all going ahead and I was just waiting for the stonemason to free up his schedule to do it. And because we'd had permission from NZTA to put it there. But then sorry, I wasn't at the March meeting, but in the February meeting, sort of goalpost had changed. What was his name? Gareth. Gavin. Who was that? Oh, secretary. Gavin.
I'll give it.
Gavin. He said that I had to fill out a form or something to say that we don't have any, to say that TDC don't have any responsibility to maintenance. And my question was, well, we didn't have to do that for any other ones. So I don't know if that was a governance guideline or whether so I just put it in the I don't understand
Market.
basket.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so we'll have to.
So it was all approved by NZTA, the location and WPS. That was all approved. WSP. And then, so we were all to go. And then, so I've said to the stonemason now, well, hang on a minute, just hold that thought because now we have to fill out a form to see who's gonna.
Yeah.
So you've had written correspondence from the NZTA to say it's all go.
Yeah, via email, yeah.
And what we're saying is council's not going to be responsible for maintaining it. Is that what we're?
That's what was said.
Why don't we just get on and do it?
Mm.
And
That's where we were at, so I didn't,
why
so
don't we
can
just
we
get
just
on-
carry on and
just
do
get
it?
on and do the thing. Yeah.
Right, okay,
I think we just put in restrictions. Let's get on.
right,
Cool. Sounds good.
thank you.
Do it.
Yeah, I like the style.
Awesome. Okay. Is there anything else from you, Tony?
I'll put it in my diary right now.
So we've
Contact
got
stonemason.
our next round of special projects will be going out now actually, it's online, but we'll speak to it soon.
Yeah.
So I guess that the one point that we do need to do is connect to look at timeframes, costs. It's the part that's missing.
I guess it's, usually consultation.
Yes, community consultation will be going out, but we need to set a time to talk with staff around.
Through you,
Yeah,
I think it's a good idea. We do exactly what we did last time.
Yeah.
It's about capacity,
yes,
as well as whether there are projects that we can actually achieve and what are the restrictions.
yeah,
So there's a bit of work that we should have a look at before.
Yeah. So this has gone out. So this list here was quite lengthy. This is what was left over from 2024.
Yep.
Because the public consultation brought heaps and heaps of suggestions.
Yeah.
So we've gone through this list and taken out the ones that we've already done, of course, the ones that are way out of our scope and the ones that we're just never going to get done because they were not quite there. So this is the sort of draft final. So it's going to be in the newsline, the next newsline, and it is now, as of today, on Shape Tasman.
So through the chair, just the purpose of that is to get
For the
support from the
public
community.
to vote.
Oh,
They don't have to vote on them all, but just to say,
Okay.
What do you feel?
rank which ones out of them they really like, and then that gives us then something to go on.
what if there- through the chair, what if they're ones that are being sort of not achievable
We've
for?
had that.
Pardon?
Yeah,
We've had that in the past, so if it goes back and it's like.
Sorry, we
not
can't do it through
Yeah, that's-
legislation,
Down to
something.
priority.
Yeah, okay, cool. As long as there's an opportunity. for
but we
us to-
didn't want to,
Yeah.
we didn't want to spend time on ones if it doesn't get any votes.
Yeah, sure. See, yeah.
So-
We're trying to simultaneously
Yeah.
work in the space.
Oh, let's definitely, set some
So
time.
the closing date is the 12th of May. So that gives people
Yes.
plenty of time.
So after the 12th of May.
So after the
you
12th
look
of
at
May, yep,
Ratings.
we get the
Yep.
results and then we
Yep.
go, right, we can do this, we can't do that.
Yep, looks to me like Lynn, and Steve and myself will sort of be meeting up and go through it. Yeah. Yep. It's fine, yeah.
And then once we've got that list wheeled down,
Yes.
then I think it comes back here. And we then vote what the priorities are, depending on the budget, yeah.
Through the
But we've
chair.
got to sort of start somewhere.
Yeah, we do, and I guess, it's understanding budgets. Well, we'll have to probably look at it and go ballpark,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it's
Yeah,
usually done.
that's what,
you know,
Yeah.
and then firm it up a little bit more.
that's right.
Once it's been.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Rated.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Yep.
And there's going to be hard copy at the service centre in here, and there's going to be a drop-in centre as well.
Yep.
We'll cover all that. Yeah.
Looks like some nice parks projects.
Plenty of parks
Just
person.
need a couple more people. Sorry. No, I'm just joking.
So,
No, you're not. No, not joking.
Yes.
Um,
So we're on schedule, I think.
Yep.
Really.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
so is the board okay with that? I know, you didn't have a chance to get it actually run, but it's basically the same how we rolled last year. Yeah? Okay, anything else to add to the special pro? Yeah, so Paul.
Through the chair, in here, you'll also find there's an attachment of a possible template for some
Ah,
future
yes.
project report.
Awesome.
That might be something to discuss if you're looking at additional projects in the future. We are making some changes to it in our project reporting space and other parts of council business. So that is an example which might help build clarity, more clarity around the funding of projects, whether it's discrete, board special project, or board is making a contribution to a larger project, and give more visibility of the overall project in a form which is perhaps better explains the financial position of those projects than the current document there.
No, that's great. So this will be, each project will have one of these. Little summary.
That would, I think, be a quite a good way to do it, yes.
Awesome.
No, this is just for the funding and plan of each individual.
Because that one's our action, so we're, but this could be a nice brief for
Yeah.
each project. That's great, thank you. Anything else to add, anybody?
And sorry, just a
Yeah.
question, sorry. So who fills this in? Do we work with you to fill this in, or do we?
So the project budgets would help set them up. The project budgets would be recruited. The project managers going to be over their own costs anyway, so they can either fill them in, or we can fill them in finance. Project managers, budget holders will be required to put words in there as far as project status, but it's aiming, what's the budget, cost to date, forecast funding position for a project, which we would want to know. where has it come from, resolution ABC, and current status.
Yeah, that'll be very useful.
Okay, thank you. I will move that report, yeah. Okay, so just moving the special projects report, can I have a seconder, please? Seconded by Deputy Chair. All those in favour, please say aye. Anyone against? Okay, carry. Thank you. Thanks, gentlemen. Right, we're moving on to board report, page 26. Look at us at 5:10.
Oh, no.
Really?
Yeah. Hold on, we're in the board report. Let's not get too, there we go. Okay. All right, now, if anyone wants to jump, actually, we'll go to number 4, just because you're away, those you wanted to speak to any of that, 4.1, 4.2. Oh, not 4.2, no.
Slightly I'm going to change something.
Oh, sorry, not that one. No, moving on. Number 4 just gives you an explanation on the board's current status. Plan change 81. We can talk about that one. So councillors, you attended the Saturday. Do any feedback for us?
Through the chair, the significant part of relation to your 5.1 is the feedback being requested on multiple dwellings on title. So there's feedback being asked for, not part of plan change 81, but the feedback's being asked for.
Yeah.
So that would, that starts talking about multiple dwellings on various properties.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think so that's the one that's down at the bottom of section 5 where in shape Tasman. You're referring to that one with our requesting feedback. Yeah. So that's the
Yes.
5.5.
yeah, and then John, feel free to jump in.
So, plan change 81, as councillor has alluded to, there's an additional question there, which is I'm paraphrasing here, but views on multiple dwellings, particularly, and also 5.7, they've included a link to the government announcement around what they're terming granny flats, which is they've changed the size of that to 70 square metres. There'll be a national direction coming from government on that. They haven't put an exact timeline on. They've said in there the end of the year. So that media release gives you some detail as to, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
So Tasman District Council are continuing to call tiny home buildings in.
As in regards to the TRMP?
Everything of in recent times, they are now calling them structures buildings again.
Definition of a building is defined under the Building Act. We've been through this.
Yeah, I know.
Numerous workshops, and the TRMP marries up with the Building Act.
We have Mr. Ridd's statement noted. Thank you.
Okay, so that information is online. I guess from the board's perspective, it's encouraging the public to put their feedback into council, and then and that can be collated and hopefully fed back to central as well.
So
Yep.
do we have an update on the 8-week rule?
Good.
We did put forward a motion to triage, and I understand that was.
I did not get to go to council. Staff decided not to.
Because we do need to work out what the concern, because this is the Resource Management Act, what is concern with council over breaching that? Is it just the fact that it's a breach, or what is the effect on the environment? There's been, the question keeps getting put forward and we haven't got any answers that I see.
Yeah. Because,
The triage is actually a very good
yeah, way of managing it.
because it says what this is about the Resource Management Act and the concerns are for the environment. So what are the environmental concerns with someone being in a caravan?
Yeah.
And if those concerns are addressed, then what is the issue? Like I know I get told regularly about about human feces being pushed onto the neighbour's property and that sort of thing. But if that isn't happening, then there isn't really an issue. And I know 8 weeks, people unfortunately, being a human is a daily thing. So I suppose you can build up buckets if you've got a family living, and you can build up 8 weeks as a fair amount of refuse to get rid of. And I know that that's obviously acceptable in TDC's eyes, but after 8 weeks, then what is the effect on the environment? That's what I hoped that would be presented to the council with the triage. It's sad that it hasn't come to anything.
No.
Can we perhaps re-present it to the council?
So
And
the feedback
because-
was, it's out of our, it's out of our scope, but it's out of our mandate. Even though our proposal to review the 8-week rule was within, it changed. However, you would have seen, we sent an invitation to Kim Drummond to help clarify some of these things. He has come back with bits. He can't make Tuesdays, but he is open to doing a workshop where we can discuss some of those. Because apparently there is a triage system in place, but maybe not to the extent that we were looking for. But I don't know.
Unfortunately, we've had, it's been over a year now.
Yes.
So I have no faith in workshops anymore. I want answers. We need
No.
answers. The community needs answers. And so far, all we have is a council that seems to be prepared to use police force to hold people against their will while they search to see if there's a woman living in a caravan. That's all I see.
So through the chair, so moving forward, there's going to be a workshop coming up that we'll organise with Kim, and we can go
Yeah,
through.
so it will be board driven. So it's just around board availability, which
Right.
is always our struggle.
So then in the workshop, we can
Hash
ask
that
our
out.
questions and hash it out. That's great. So that's a good way of moving forward rather than focusing on
Yeah.
the past.
Yeah, because
Okay.
you're right in the sense that it was February last year. And I know council was
Yeah, yeah.
hoping things will change from central government, which will change our, which will hopefully alleviate the issues that we are seeing from community. Councillor Walker.
Through you, Chair, I hear and I feel the frustration from our community about the community board not getting traction on the 8-week rule. So what I understand is that we're going to get consumption. Can we please anchor a date to happen in the near future and not just let this drag on and on and on? Because, this term's going to come to an end. And Board Member Hughes has been on about this, and I've been on about it since 2019. And it would be easy for us to get that, yep, he's going to come and do a workshop, but actually nobody anchored down a date. So could we please have an action point whereby we get a commitment from that, for that workshop to actually happen?
So Fridays are generally our best day. So shall we present 2nd of May?
Yep.
Is the board okay with 2nd of May?
Yep.
Okay. 2nd of May is first point, 9th of May is second option.
Could we,
That's the best example.
sorry, through the chair, could we ask, make a request for a statement of position from the Tasman District Council that they are not going to amend the 8-week rule?
Okay, so
That's,
formally
we've asked them to amend the 8-week rule and put a 10 in front.
Okay, so
Can we
let's,
get a statement to say, yes, we are, or no, we're not?
okay. So what's the process there? If we just,
Well, there is no process. We've had no direction from council to amend the definition. It's not a rule, it's a definition in the Tier MP. What we have been directed from council is to talk to the community, and we specifically talked about tiny homes through Plan Change 81. So from there, we'll see what the feedback is from the community,
okay,
and I guess then we'll get direction from council going forward as to what they wish to do with that information.
Excuse me,
Because the big thing with a workshop that's like a
four
formal
times.
Council would discuss a resolution.
Sorry, say that again.
So to date, I can't remember a formal paper coming to council for a decision. We've workshopped this
Yeah,
over and over again, but a decision at council, hasn't been made because we haven't been presented with a report to make a decision on.
Okay, very good.
There's been nothing to
Very
full
cool.
council on this.
Okay, very cool.
okay, so we'll go back
So,
to,
sorry, can I just, just need to clarify that. So what I'm hearing is you've not, as a council, we've not resolved either
We
way.
haven't formally had this on an agenda at a council meeting.
only 4 workshops. Board member Hughes.
so in March last year, we asked the council to amend the 8-week rule.
To 108.
I understand that to be a request.
Yes.
We've workshopped it. Is the council now saying they have not been asked to amend this? Because that's what I understood from the conversation, or have I got this wrong? Sorry.
I can't recall a paper coming to council. I remember the commentary through the board secretary in terms of there was a means for councillors to raise that as an extraordinary item, but the time had passed that the councillors could do that. So that was an option, but it wasn't an option because there was a time delay in announcing that we.
Rather than trying to do this on the fly, let me go away and look, because I'm not.
Yeah, I can't.
It's on the fly, so
Okay.
I'll go back.
It also needs to be noticed that Legema have also admitted that the questions put to them were not answered from a workshop.
I didn't hear that, sorry, say it again.
Legema,
Go on, yeah.
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 I asked, where were the responses to the questions put to the chair after one of the workshops? And they said that there was no further correspondence. So that needs to be noted as well.
Yeah. So
So
there were
it-
several questions in that
It
workshop.
can be, I think, accepted that not much has happened then. And perhaps if we could ask the council, what have they done after these workshops? Because as Councillor Maru has said, he hasn't been presented with anything. The councils haven't been presented with anything.
No,
And this is a year.
Can I just go back and check that, please?
thank you.
you.
Yeah, so we'll hopefully have an answer before our next meeting, and then we can work through what we're going to do from there.
Will that be our May meeting? Okay. With time is ticking on.
Well, if Mr. Red can get back to us before then at least in the May meeting, we can have something on paper. Okay, point 6, community wellbeing solutions. So do you want to talk to some of that, Deputy, around the campaign?
Yes, so we've got on Paper Plus in Motueka here from the 5th of May through to the end of May. We, Sarah at Paper Plus is clearing out one of her main windows at the front. So she'll have her display in one, and then we're going to have the community posters with the quotes about homelessness and how it makes people feel. And also we've Tarina and I have had a meeting with Jane at Community House. She's given us a list of various support services. So we're going to have that there as well. And we're also, when we were brainstorming, have a couple of sheets for people to fill out. What do you need if you're in that situation? What do you need? Well, how can somebody help you? And the other side is I've got X, Y, and Z, I can help you with this. So, there's sort of a two-sided scenario.
So it's around building community resilience again.
Yeah, and other people getting involved, and like a lot of people that we've spoken to were not aware of the homelessness problem in Motueka. They were completely blind, you know, like just they weren't aware of it. So this is really putting it out there so that if you are now aware of it, can you help? And
Yeah.
yep, that's where we're at the moment, really.
And I think that sort of segues from Mr. Williamson's comments earlier, like, you know, our lack of awareness around how bad the meth situation is in the district. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, it is around community awareness and building resilience. Okay. Community impacts. Oh, okay. So this was what I was going to say. It's been carried forward. Oh, no, it's not. It's still not that. Okay. So number 7, community impact with council's decision to decrease services. I'm sure our councillors have been hit up by many members of the public. It's definitely rife on social media and understandably so.
Is anyone able to confirm what the savings are for this? I'd heard in the newspaper report it was 155,000.
Welcome. Thanks, Graham. Thanks, Tony.
Got the exhibits.
Question was, sorry, through the chair.
What are the savings for people mowing their own berms? You know, they're used to the mowing of berms, stopping the cleaning of toilets, the bins. What is the cost of that to the region? The savings.
Yeah, through the chair, we can't comment on the berm business, but we can comment on the items that we put up as cost-saving measures around rubbish bins, toilets, and the frequency of cleaning toilets. The rubbish bin, if we removed all bins, there was a savings of about $240,000 a year. Now, at the moment, that's still being discussed by council on the 30th of April as an annual plan item. So it's kind of difficult for us to even sort of indicate much more around what that decision might trigger us to do. So yeah, it was just cost saving measures that we were asked to provide. For example, maybe shutting 3 of the toilets was about a $12,000 saving. But again, you know, that's still up for decision.
Just a question through the chair, sorry, is so the contractors that work for TDC, I don't know, Nelmax, Sunrise Cleaning, or you know, there's various ones. When you were you as in TDC, when you were making the decision to say, right, that bin, that bin, and that bin, and that toilet, and that toilet, did you consult them so that they could say that one's hardly ever used, so that there was that has happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's been a pretty rigorous consultation process just within our team and our contractors. Sunrise is contracted to Nelmax, so we're not directly, but certainly, you know, we don't know all of you know, the bins in the area. Well, I don't, but certainly the guys that are doing the work, absolutely, we've been working with our contractors all the way through.
So you've got here 328 bins potentially will be removed in the district.
How many bins?
328.
How many of those are in Motueka, roughly?
Oh,
Sorry, that's an awful.
Yeah.
8.
Sorry, that's just, yeah.
So I think it's probably worth reiterating that at the 30th of April meeting, I guess this will be discussed again with the councillors, and we'll confirm or otherwise when all of those bins are taken out.
So one of the local providers, so I'm not going to name because obviously that's commercially sensitive. But my understanding is there's between 104, 106 bins from Mapua through to Maraho and around here. And some of those bins don't regularly need emptying. And then there's some other hotspots, Aka Dex Reserve, which need regular empties. And it's probably worth noting that when we went to vote recently on this decision, it was about a cost saving of around 26K for a very short period of time until we actually signed off on an annual plan and started on the next financial year. And it's fair to say that the two councillors presenting here tonight did not vote for the reduction of that. But it's also fair to say that in Motueka, we weren't losing our toilet. We weren't going to put an out of order sign on one of our ablution blocks. We were one of the fortunate wards that weren't going to actually lose that for that short period of time. And the messaging that has gone out from our comms team has created quite some significant trafficking. I don't know about, I can't speak on behalf of Councillor Murray, but I can certainly tell you how many people have targeted me, because what wasn't put out there was the councillors who voted against said little move for 26K, because for me, that's rats and mice, and why would we do it? Because the implications on my community were much wider than the savings that you might have got right then.
Yes, Councillor Maru.
Madam Chair. And to a certain degree, I think I might have started this because I absolutely voted against it, because the forward-facing services are the bit that people actually see, what they get for their rates. And for me, it was the roadside berm mowing that was the significant part going, oh my goodness. But the bit of the process where council staff bring back where they're over budget for council to make a decision, I absolutely support. The surprise to Councillor Walker and I is actually, we thought it was lost. When the mayor called for the vote, he said, motion lost. He said, oh, just a show of hands.
Yeah, no.
And it was 8-6. I go, oh my goodness, because we thought it had just been
It
kicked.
sounded like it was.
But the process of council making decisions where overspenders is essential that we keep doing that. So I think I said that through that meeting, Grant, in terms of thank you for bringing these. I think these are valuable, but thank you. And council will make a decision. And whether we voted against it or not, which we both did, it is a decision of council that we have to be party up. So it means that we probably just assumed too much it was going to get kicked. So we probably should have spent another hour talking about it, which we will again in April. But, it's not just the ones that voted for it. It's that I didn't see this coming. So there wasn't a lot of debate to defend it. So be a bit more open.
So
be next time.
a question to the councillors, I guess. Was any other cost-saving measures presented for you to consider other than services?
Other ongoing, significant ongoing cost savings.
We've got about 11 workshops on it.
And like Councillor Walker alluded to, that short period of $26,000 isn't even a drop in a bucket.
No.
It's significant.
So I guess my concern is, since there were 7 councillors in the mayor that did vote for the getting rid of these services for this financial year, that it's a lot easier to carry it through for the next.
Well, maybe through the chair, maybe not in terms of, because I suspect they've got as many calls as we've got.
It's just
So
going to be,
maybe not.
it's going to be another cost to put bins back.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's currently in or out of the figure.
Grant.
Just to clarify, no bins have been taken out each year. And
No.
So-
I know, but if,
Been no
Made,
cost,
but
but
we
if, yeah,
so the decision that was made is going back to be rehashed. What's the story?
My understanding, Mr. Red, correct me if I'm wrong, the decision was made with for this financial year saving of $26,000.
Yeah.
The annual plan decision is part of the whole annual plan decision, so
Yeah.
that decision has been made yet.
I've actually got a number of cost saving decisions.
So you decided, not you two, but there was a decision that was made to get rid of XYZ for this financial year, which would mean XYZ would need to be removed. And then there's going to be another decision in 30 April around the long-term plan. Okay, so in the interim, XYZ is gone because you've already passed it, or are you revisiting that decision? This is where I'm unsure of.
I'm not sure, but it was because it was from it was May, wasn't it? I don't know, to be fair.
It was May 16, I believe, is when bins were going to be removed and because we had a question around the dog do bags. Doggy do bags and bins will be removed at the same time, and I can't remember if it was May 11 or May 16.
May 16.
That was the date.
So pretty much here, be fair. Yeah, currently, there'll be a resolution of council to remove the bin, whatever that is. So currently, that is the resolution of council, whether that is looked at, I'm unaware at this stage. But the annual plan part is separate.
Yes,
So I know where you're going, so it
Yeah.
could come out and they could go back.
exactly.
The cost of taking it, the cost of going back.
Yeah. For how many months?
One,
Yeah, to save what?
half of May and June.
26K, and some of that's going to go back into reinstalling potentially. So just to me, make it make sense, you know? I know you guys put all those questions out there and I appreciate the work you did around that table, and I agree, I thought it wasn't going to go anywhere too.
Or if you saw the video,
I did
It was-
watch the video to find out who voted for it.
maybe Councillor Walker and I will split ourselves between two sides of the table. Because it was sort of one side, but this is.
It usually is. Okay, so I'm still not 100% clear, but from what my understanding is that a vote was made and the decision was made to remove these services. And then there's going to be another decision about if it carries on. So no matter what, these bins are going on the 16th of May,
So through the.
or it's going back for another discussion.
Yeah, to Grant, maybe, I'm not sure if the intent was all of the bins. That's the bit I'm unsure
Oh,
about.
sorry,
I think
reserves,
some of our
not street bins, just reserves.
Reserves, yeah.
Just reserves, which brings me back to the point when board member Hughes raised, I don't know why the bins and Dex Reserve would be so overflowing. But that is a big issue here for our community with the Freedom Campus, which we'll talk about soon. You see them filling up the bins so it's like, where's the consequence with that? What's going to happen? Yes.
So basically, we'll hold off till the 30th of April. Won't remove any bins. Should there be any change of heart, it's out of that meeting. And we haven't spent any money. Won't need to put any bins back, and we'll have some more direction. But I have been speaking to the government's team around, what that might look like, should that go in that direction.
Yeah. Okay. And other options that the council is to be presented with ways to save money. Be great. And I don't know.
The chair, I think that's the important part, that councillors get that choice on a whole lot of options, and that's the start. Because it's certainly not staff's recommendation to remove them, as staff were asked, where can savings be made?
Yes,
So
that's right.
honestly, under that.
Yep.
So the decision solely rests with us.
Yeah.
And that's where it should rest. In the past, I don't think it has. We've usually had a report at the end showing overspends and underspends, and you just ratify that report, and I've become less comfortable with that. So then you get into this difficult conversation.
Yeah. No, that's good. Board member Hughes.
We could save $16,507 by not mowing some lawns at a local aerodrome.
That's a lot.
Well, that
But not
might be-
enough.
I don't, because it's very difficult getting information. I don't know if that's a year or just to December, so it could be more.
Okay.
And we could turn that round to income for hay.
Yes. Okay, right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will hear outcomes after 30 April. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we'll move on unless there's anyone else has anything to add. So this was part, sorry, number 8, carried over from, so these were items from the board. I think.
Oh, yes, yes. So, sorry, I'm just re-familiarising myself with that. So board support. Is So as we all know that we haven't had the same level of consistent support that previous boards have had. Are we keeping Kelsey?
I hope so.
Better be.
Are we keeping John?
Yes, I'm staying. I'm here for the long haul.
It's a short haul now.
Well,
We're only got a few
the
months.
final run.
Thank you.
And a question I think I'd raised in the February meeting.
Oh, yes, John, for that one.
Yes, because I use Antenno a lot for when I'm walking around and people say, oh, can you put a service request in for this? So straight away, because they won't do it themselves. So what is the time frame? Because some of the ones I've got, some of them I get a response on, some of them I don't. So what's the thing I'd say to the public if they put one in?
What happens in the back end is this, right? So we get an email. So Antenno is it's an application, phone application. It's not two-way.
Yeah.
So what happens is it goes to a server somewhere, then flicks an email off to us to report the whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends when the team pick that up, and then they'll put whatever this standard timeline is to that. Now, come middle of this year, we're going to go live with our customer relationship module, which is a piece of software we're working on at the moment, which will mean Antenno will maybe become null and void sort of end of this year, because it will be a two-way. Yeah. So just remember that
John, can
it's.
you use a louder voice? Because
Sorry,
I struggle
I'm
to hear you.
sorry.
No microphones in here, so.
I'm forgetting there's no microphone. Sorry about that. So Antenno is one way. So what happens is it's an application on the phone. It just goes and it spits an email.
It's not a two-way.
It spits an email off to our customer services team. So it relies on our team picking that email up. Then they'll assign it accordingly and put whatever timeline is against it. Sort of later this year, you'll find a different way of reporting, which will be two-way. You'll have notifications and you'll have a reference number as well. So we're just improving our digital space a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that helps at all, but
It's just that
it's a bit old school as Antenno, to be honest.
it is, yeah, and it sort of goes into limbo somewhere.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why you'll get a notification, a new approach.
Yes.
And it'll give you a reference number, it'll give you a notification. And it's on your phone or your desktop or whatever.
Great.
Okay.
Cool. Wonderful. And you'll do lots of comms about that?
Oh, well, not massive amount of comms. What we'll do is we just point people there. You can do the comms for us, right?
Okay, thanks, John. Yeah, that's good.
But Antenno also costs us money, so it's a way of reducing some of our costs as well.
Great. Okay, so 8.3, Freedom Camping. So, thank you guys. See you.
So the Freedom Camping bylaw is being reviewed at the moment. It's there's a council workshop on the 1st of May, which will set the scene for reviewing the current bylaw, freedom camping locations, I imagine, and I would suggest the board can feed that back into Trinder and Rent in terms of any concerns.
Can we attend? It's a Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be good if we could invite that.
I'll be watching that process very closely to see questions put to the council and see.
Well,
It's a workshop,
council
so you can come.
It's a workshop. We've just
Yes,
asked
I
if
know,
we can go.
but they put questions to the council.
Oh, okay, around the.
We'll see how that is. This is all about bylaws, and I've seen a few bylaws come and go. It's a pity the 8-week rule one is proving to be quite difficult.
Yeah.
So through the chair, so it's the 1st of May?
Yep.
And can you confirm that we're able to attend?
I'll get an invite to you.
Thank you.
Right, yeah. What time?
I actually don't know.
What diary?
1:30, 1:30.
1:30. Thank you.
Okay, that's tricky. All right, we'll see. You might have to go.
But what I was also suggest is if there's some concerns or something gaps we're missing, feed that back into
Yes.
myself.
Yeah.
Or via Trinder or Brent or Barry.
Okay,
But I'm happy to receive those if you want.
that is great.
And what I would say is with bylaws, it's about evidence, right? So if you've got evidence of anything, if you're proposing to remove freedom camping from certain area or add it, then it has to be quite evidence-based. So
Yeah,
just be
why not?
aware of that.
okay, right, we'll get counting. Now, just on this bylaw review, I assume council only review when it's due for review, or have we been reviewing earlier than? You don't want to? Okay. Do you get a schedule of bylaw reviews?
So we don't generally let bylaws expire,
Okay,
if that helps. So we have a review process of all our bylaws. And that's everything from, are they still fit for purpose? Are we missing things? We've done, what have we done recently? Cat and dog bylaw,
Yeah, alcohol one and all that.
alcohol and public spaces is currently going through. So yeah, we have a schedule of, because obviously they are a tool for compliance, so we need to make sure they're still going.
okay, but I'm just assuming that the start of every term would have a schedule of, no.
There are 5, so through that there's some different year.
It depends when they expire. I mean, I can get it should be on the website anyway, our bylaws. Currently, there should be.
Should be. I don't know what you find. So through the chair, just remembering, this is the pre-workshop.
Yeah.
Develop the draft bylaw to go out for
Go out,
consultation.
yeah,
So really early in the process,
yes,
which is quite a good place to be if you can workshop it.
It is, yeah.
yeah. So when is it meant to be reviewed? Because I think we are up for review now, 2025.
But it was
Yeah.
reviewed now, so we need to get.
So we're on target.
And there's been some changes nationally to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which may or may not be helpful, I don't know. Okay, well, just, it's any updates from Youth Council?
Well, we'll just actually quietly have a little discussion about it.
Yeah.
So I thought that Taylor may have given you an update. However, she feels that next time she may be
Okay.
in a position to
Oh.
find her voice a bit more. So yeah, the Youth Council is continuing to meet every second Monday. So
Fortnightly.
fortnightly. Oh,
Whoa.
yes, the commitment that we have for our
Councillor
Youth
Walker.
Council. Just saying, Waimea is doing the same.
Oh,
It's quite
okay,
neat.
so you.
Friday night.
Oh, fun.
It fits under, yeah. So so it was quite exciting that on last night we had two new applications for some rangatahi to join the Youth Council, which is really cool to increase our numbers. Then they'll bring us up to about 8. So the Youth Council have some plans on what they want to do and how they're going to go about re-engaging and getting to know the voice of the youth that's currently here and what keeps them here and why some of our youth disappear, other than education. Oh, look, timed out.
Impact.
That would be really good information.
And they're also going to put a proposal together to come back to community board around some funding, because, you know, even though I picked holes in this, it does state we have money for our youth. So the Youth Council, who have had a reduction in what they've got to operate with as part of these, you know, pulling back our finances. So yeah, we've just talked about that and they're putting their heads together on. So they've got a proposed night market and a targeted group for that. So they will require some resourcing to pull that off. So we are working on them, not me, putting a proposal together to bring to community board regarding the $1,000 that Councillor Maru mentioned at our last community board meeting.
Yep, it's
But a very
been
active
sitting there and
space.
accumulating, so.
And they did put a submission in for the alcohol in public spaces.
Oh, great.
So it was really good to have their voice in amongst that.
Yes.
You're taking advantage of the youth leadership grant, I presume?
Well, let's take that offline with Julia.
Okay.
Noted. Okay, anything else? No? Okay, busy space. Just any other items I forgot to add in here. Anzac Day service obviously next week.
Oh, board member Graham, would you like to present the wreath at Rewalker?
Yes, so you're not going to be there.
Yeah, I'm just,
Oh,
here you go. So, me and Tim will bring it over.
Okay,
So he'll bring it, you can lay it, how's that?
that sounds great. I hope they're,
Oh, yes,
Just on,
roger that.
yeah, just on that point, through the chair,
Yeah,
John knows what I'm going to say.
and I'm gonna walk out. Jokes.
I emailed Robin to ask if we could have a purchase order number for ordering the wreaths from our florist here, saying that last year's were a bit disappointing, to say the least. So, and the reply was that you were doing the Rewalker one and the mayor was doing the Motueka one. So we're not allowed to do one, basically. So my response back was, my email wasn't asking permission if we could do it. I just want a purchase order number. So
have you got a purchase order number?
I've emailed Kelsey, but I don't know if Kelsey's been told not to give us one.
No, hang on, just hold the call, just. if you-
Paula, please hold.
Yep, thank you.
We have got enough in our general to,
We'd like to pay our respects.
is
as a
is
separate
there
community
any?
board.
Yes,
So the conversation, if I can through you, Chair, is from a lovely lady over in Tasman District Council who said, Community Board need to remember that you are part of Tasman District Council and why would you be putting 2 reefs down there if we are one body of people? Not my words, hers.
That is, so that,
a staff person
so that's, and that was.
under the umbrella, but we're a different arm.
Yes. So that, that was a response I got as well. But I feel that we are actually, we are a segment of TDC, but we're not part of the council because
We would
when there's
know
council,
everything.
when there's council meetings, we're excluded. So we're either part of council or we're not. And I think the importance for the community board of having the opportunity to lay a wreath from the community board on behalf of the community is really important. Separately to the Tasman District Council. You know, I just feel that we can't be part of it when it suits and then not when it doesn't suit. It's
In the past,
in the
did it
past,
come from
we've done
community?
an ANZAC community board wreath in the past.
So usually, so through the chest, I think the last one, the community board presented would have been board member Hart and I think.
Mhm.
Or maybe board member Hart and councillor Walker one year.
Mm.
But we have in the past, but I guess the wider question is, Rewalker is also part of our ward, so does that mean we'll lay through there?
Mm.
Because if the board chair lays one on behalf of TDC at Rewalker,
Mm.
it seems we are part of, I don't know. All I can say is that actually in the older days, would be Hart, you're right, because I used to pick it up. I think you might have picked it up for me.
Yes.
From the florist locally.
Yeah. And again, it's about supporting local. And what was handed out last year, we'd have been better off not doing one.
So we could do it from the community board. You know what I mean? So the point was bringing it back locally.
Yeah.
And since the community board, even though your councillors, the community board is presenting as well. We can do it, so it's one, but it's from.
So through the chair, that was the red statement, if you've got budget, you've already got delegated authority to spend budget.
Okay,
Well, you,
done.
yeah, if you've got the delegation,
That's right.
do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Postal steps,
Yeah.
but if there's available budget in your
There
general
is.
expense,
Okay,
it doesn't stipulate what not.
No, that's right. It just started off with asking for a purchase order number and it turned into a bit of a,
I think it's probably a fair question though, is we were talking rubbish bags, doggy do bags, bigger cost savings, and then we put 2 wreaths. You know, so just the test,
Yeah.
but I get the significance of
absolutely.
the respect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Thank you very much.
okay, so you work with Kelsey on that. She's just got to get in the system.
So just so I'm clear, sorry, but so you're okay to lay the council one at rewalk it? Okay.
One for memorial. Or shall we take that off?
We'll just
Work
do
that
that.
out.
Can we just clarify something, right? So the board is paying for one wreath, and council's paying for the other wreath. Is that what we're hearing?
I think the
Councillor
mayor is coming.
All of the wreaths.
Yeah.
So Mrs. S has organised all the wreaths for all the regions and they get out to people. And Mayor King's coming to Motueka to rewalk,
So
so
he
he's
will
bringing
make-
those ones. And I
And
think
he's
that.
bringing Ngaramoti.
Otherwise, yeah.
Okay. So we'll just do,
But
we'll
for
just
the
do one for
community
us, yeah.
board, we just want one, but we want to organise it from our own forest.
Okay.
For the
cool.
dawn parade at 6.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And they can do a supplier form online to get into the system, but I can do all that.
Okay.
So that's cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Is there any other items? Yes.
It's worth noting that when we have significant occasions in Motueka, like several hundred birthdays, that I have been fortunate to be able to represent Tasman District Council and pick up a bouquet from Motueka local florist and deliver to said peoples.
Yeah.
So getting them locally won't be a problem because we've got that
Already in the
relationship
system.
already. You just may need to know which florist in particular that we've used.
Deputies all over it.
Yep, brilliant.
Thank you. Any other items from the board? We'll just move on to, are you happy to drive this next one? Our public forum, so
we've got the questions from this evening from the first presenter is Jeff Rowley. So there was three questions. Has the board chosen to support planning zone changes for Motueka as per Urban Growth Plan Change 81? Has the board chosen to support other alternatives, if not? And has the board given up on protecting Motueka as it's on its present site?
Councillor Maru and then Board Member Hughes. Or
Either or.
either or. Who wants to go first? Come. Who?
Well, he'll come up with something incredibly professional.
Okay.
No.
Straight.
So through the chairs, so I'm not sure the board has, so if I speak as a councillor, I guess, have I supported a plan change and plan change 81? No, that's why it's out for consultation. So all the plan change 81 is in consultation. I think I said at the meeting on Saturday that this councillor hasn't got to the point where I've processed and accepted all the natural hazard modelling yet. So I'm not sure where the protection starts and where the protection stops, but certainly in workshops there has been talk of some form of protection long term. So in terms of personally, the natural hazard mapping, I'm still digesting and debating, and if you want to test that laterally, I've moved into an area that shows will be flooded in the next 50 years, just down the road from you, so perhaps we can both
It's
retreat at the same
seaside, Councillor Maru.
So in terms of the plan change 81, it's out for consultation, haven't made any decisions in terms of on that. And there is a danger though that people focus just on plan change 85, which is the natural hazard part.
Right.
So in plan change 81, there's two proposals for deferred residential zoning off behind the High Street, backing onto Whakawera Street, that are next to plan change 80 that's just been gotten through. And it sort of goes into the next question of Mr. Mitchell's, is that there are a whole lot of documents that sit behind this. So costs in terms of wastewater treatment plants in the long-term plan, the infrastructure plan sits there. The reason that plan change 81 has defined those areas is absolutely at the restriction of our infrastructure. So there's that as the restriction. There's two sites, I think, that are on that plan. And in terms of being careful around Seaview Heights, my absolute statement is I support any discussion around rezoning land that's no longer used for productive land or any other thing, to have that discussion, to go to a plan change, to have that community consultation on it. In terms of the newspaper thing, the final product I wasn't unhappy with, but I had no idea it was going to look like that and had no input to the content on that. But simply by being there, you seem to supporting it. And I think I'd had that conversation amongst the board and the proposed developers that would automatically exclude me from sitting on a plan change now. So went into that knowing that actually when it does come to plan change, it is unlikely that I'd be able to see as being independent in terms of being a commissioner on there. So that's that. So do I support it? I think it's an option that's worthy of exploring, that goes through the whole process. And then if the plan change comes through, the plan change comes through. Am I saying it should be like that? Absolutely not, because that's not the process. But we certainly need land for growth. And the thing that's inhibiting our growth is the infrastructure plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess what I've got it, to Mr. Mitchell's point, it's actually a really good point, because our high level and condensing information has made out that we have no other basis of all this planning behind it. In fact, there is long-term infrastructure plan. In terms of the growth of Motueka, it was just that deferred zoning, so the existing reserves and infrastructure probably untouched, because the plan changes around medium density housing. You know, 2-story, lot of housing, rather than redesigning it completely at this stage. In fact, one of the questions people should ask is, why aren't we growing more in Motueka? Maybe we don't want to, but actually the growth is the other side of that hill in terms of meeting our growth projections. I think that's them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Board member Hughes, take it away.
Can I follow that? I feel that, you know,
I know.
that concept of Jerry Lee Lewis. Do you not know about that?
Would you stay on?
No, sorry. Anyway, look, yeah, I want to get home. Look, for me, it's not really about the community board having a right, we're going to vote and we're going to do this. It's more about the fact that we recognise there is a housing shortage, there is a homing shortage in Motueka, and that is what we are promoting. So we can't simply not look at all the options. You know, we can't simply go, oh, no, that's a bit contentious, we need to keep away from it. But we also need to be aware that we haven't got infrastructure. We just haven't. And maybe we need to look at other options. And what I've been banging on about for a few years could be an option. But low impact housing is certainly something that we can look at, rather than this thing which I call led by Project Kokuri, in my opinion, a few years ago, where it was clear that they wanted to bring people into the region and not, we're probably talking about wealthy retired people, you know, drag them away from Tauranga. That's my understanding when I saw the documents. And that's why we're getting big developments up on the hills, which don't have any cost to council at all. You know, they're on enough land where they can look after themselves. They've got their water tanks and their septic tanks, and the developer puts in the road, and suddenly the council gets a couple of $1 million property to get rates on it. No, dare I say it, it totally goes against me and what I want, but it's actually a good idea for sort of growth, bringing wealthy people into the region. But as I said, I don't even know why I'm saying this, because it just goes against everything that I agree with, but I understand the logic. And so, you know, the Seaview Heights, for instance, I just can't see it working. It's just too intense. And obviously it's going to have there has to be a massive investment in infrastructure to do that. But who knows, that's out of my, you know, I don't understand all that side of things, the experts. But low impact housing is where we need to go. There we go. Enough of that.
Yeah. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, through you, Deputy Chair. I too was at the drop-in on Saturday, and it was a very robust conversation. I went to the Mapu one, all of about 8, maybe 10 people. I can assure you there was more vibrancy and energy in this room than what our counterparts down the road had to share. I guess one of the things that I came away from is that our presentation about Plan Change 81 speaks about a specific piece of work. And for Dr. Mitchell,
Yeah.
he only got to hear about that Pacific, like a silo piece of information. And it would be a good takeaway for our staff to see that actually our community needs the big picture. Doesn't need so much of the blue sky stuff, but we need the big picture. We need to be able to tell them more than what Jeremy, bless his cotton socks, could deliver. Because it only gives us a wee slice of information. So that's why Dr. Mitchell's asking those quite relevant questions. I guess some of my feedback from Mr. Rowling's presentation tonight is that, you know, even if the east side of Motueka wasn't going to be compromised for whatever our scientists believe or don't believe, whether you sit in that fence or that same understanding on that page, we have a massive housing shortage here in our community. So any option of housing must be, in my opinion, a priority for us to look at. We can't grow. I went to a hui with 70 people and it was based around youth recently. And a school counsellor shared her grief over that we don't have emergency housing and we have students that currently engaged and attending high school here in our community who are actually at risk, and we have nowhere for them to be housed that is safe. So for me, you know, we have a housing shortage. Any option of housing needs to be looked at and in depth. And I guess my last comment is, and I probably should have asked it when we had public forum here, is Jeff commented about this puts him in a difficult position. I don't know what position he thinks we're in, but I will probably go offline and contact him and find out what is the difficult position that he finds himself in with either the presentation or the other developments, whether that's plan change 80, 81, or a proposal on Mariri Heights.
Yeah, sorry, I was just writing. Yeah.
Well, I just thought we're all screaming for land.
I don't know.
Where's I know a great place we can subdivide. Enough said.
Oh. Sorry. Well, I'll get with this.
Mr. Red is the new boy on the block. He has no idea about your cryptic messaging.
He'll learn very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have a look at drafting a response back to Mr. Riley and Mr. Mitchell, because we've covered both of those really in that section. So moving on to Mr. Williams, John has an update on the bridge.
This is the, I presume we're talking about the bridge rewalker.
Yep.
Yeah. So the NZTA haven't got that on their radar at all.
Oh, maybe next year, eh? Campaigning you.
Yeah. She promised. It was her baby project.
I understand. Sorry, the chair. I understand making those promises and then trying to deliver on them. I feel her pain.
Okay, so maybe.
So do we?
So we can, if I can just, I probably should have not kind of stopped there, a comma, but we continue to advocate as much as we can on that with our connections. Because we're well aware of the issues.
So Serena and I met with Maureen Pugh, it was last year, sometime mid last year. So can we have another?
Big voice, please.
Can we have another scheduled catch up, really? Just because the bridge was her main reason why she got elected in.
Well, you made that connection and
Yeah.
go for life.
Yeah.
Just keep me up to date as to where you get to with it, okay? Background.
Yep, so we'll organise that. The crime fund. Interesting.
This is a crime prevention fund, isn't it? That's streets.
When they get, So is that, so it's criminal money, when they get money from crimes, it goes back into the community, that's what
To
I
prevent crime.
understand it.
Is that right?
From my loose understanding is that used to fund some initiatives here,
Yeah,
then it disappeared, and then
Who did that go through? Was it through police or council?
So, through you, Chair, Safe Families Motueka.
Ah, okay.
So I'm one of the core members of that group.
Yeah.
So we do get funding and we are doing some work in our community. Got a project underway. About the fifth or sixth project we've spearheaded with some of that money. But I'm not going to disclose any other details at the minute in this forum, but I'm happy to chat to you about what that looks like.
so we are, councillor Walker, we are aware of it and we are using.
And I advocate for it. Yeah.
Yep.
That's just one of my many hats.
That's good.
Councillor Walker, you hope that this is an ongoing thing, because what you're actually counting on is criminals carrying on making lots of. It's like the tobacco companies paying for people to try and give up smoking. Funding.
so just through the chair, there's just one other thing in terms of the mention. Just remembering that the Tasman Police District is a vast and big one, we sport through to Marlborough. So it's not the Tasman District, it's the Tasman Policing District.
Policing district. Yeah. Okay, so this is in relation to the myths.
Yes, not to say it's not prevalent, but the district is vast.
Be great to get stats on that broken
They're
down.
available, it is, so we're not the worst.
Okay, good. No, but within.
Oh,
the
in Tasman, no, yeah.
Tasman
No.
district.
That could be a, catch up with Marty.
Marty,
He'll
yeah.
get those stats.
We'll put a action
Yeah.
around that, to get the stats through our police Marty. Constable Marty
Senior.
Tunley, senior, sorry.
Okay.
Yes, and that's for the testing.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, yeah.
Okay. Council.
Well, we test the wastewater.
Yes. And then the toilets, well, we're going to really look at what decision is going to be made on the 30th of April, aren't we, before we make any decisions on toilets and, yeah. Hi.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Great. All right. So we just move on to the actions section of the board report.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Okay, page 30. Okay, room noise complaints. So, Miss Councillor Della is not here for an update. But the latest letter that we received has been forwarded to Councillor Della for comment. The next item. Oh, so that one we're just getting clarified and updated because Kelsey has spent a lot of time getting our actions list reformulated because there were some bits missing. So there's some parts that she'll still be working on. The next one is standing orders. So we as a board in our preparing our outgoing briefing can include any suggestions for incoming board around the standing orders rather than us do the review because we haven't got much time left. So this is the standing orders review, which is LGNZ have presented a template. We had a presentation last month around looking at other providers independent providers, but it's probably not something that this board will do because we've already reviewed it, but there are some things that we do recommend that should be changed. At this stage, they fall under the chair's discretion, so we're operating okay. So yeah, if there is anything specific, if the board members can get that through to share that with the board so we can collate a list. The next action item, Motueka Master Plan. Can you speak to that?
Probably help-ish on that. I was just trying to find the date. We've got a workshop coming up where we've got some ideas around the scope of that. We're going to present it to our elected members. Not used to not having microphones. I'm sorry, team. We have a workshop coming up with our strategy and policy committee to provide some thinking around a scope of that piece of work, and then there'll be a decision made or direction given from our elected members as to where we head on that scope or not, as the case may be.
Would the board be involved with the workshop?
Not on them.
It could be helpful with it if it's possible.
It's going to be a paper though, to strategy and policy.
Oh, it is.
So it's really not going to be
Because
detailed.
The ward councillors have had a workshop, very low level, and it's better to say our debates on the scope.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'd be really interested to hear the board's perspective.
Yeah.
I guess we could cover that off in a Friday after a Friday. We could gauge it.
Yeah. That would be good if you could give us.
So there's no reason why community board can't
That's right.
see that.
that would be great. Thank you, councillors.
Are we talking about the Motueka's master plan and the development of Motueka?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Because through the chair, and unfortunately, since I think it was the November meeting or the December, where it looks like council are going to try and protect a moving sandbank. That wasn't even there 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've had,
The port.
yeah, but that's all part of the master plan. There's only one
So
place
that
to
that
develop.
project, so I'll just clarify, so that one that we're talking about, the consultant, whatever, deferred it to, it's going to be taken care of in the Motueka Master Plan, and we're like,
Right.
actually one and the same.
Okay, bit of clarity. So if you remember, there was a piece of work funded through the Harbour Board Fund, which was an issues and options paper. So it was looking at a boundary, and I'll send the map over, I think, unless you've seen it. So there was a tentative green line put around the geographical scope of that piece of work. So we've had an issues and options paper.
Yeah.
Since then, we have also done a piece of work because we do listen. So we've done a piece of work around just working out around that spit, just so we can give council full oversight as to all the issues. So we've not extended the scope of that piece of work, but I've asked for a piece of work to be done around what, if anything, can be done to
Make it happen.
to protect the access, but also protect the environment. So I suppose what I'm saying is that there's a lot to happen yet. We've not landed anything. And that's probably as far as we've got at the moment. So we do have a workshop coming up on the issue. And I have got it on my note to make sure you were invited to that. Again, I was trying to track the date, but I can't see it in my diary, so I don't think it's landed just yet.
Because we did not receive a response from, I know the lady's name. Tanya Bray, with the board's comments. So we did get to have a look at the issues and options paper she presented here, but we haven't had a response back. So thank you for updating us on that.
If I could offer a slight bit of perhaps advice. It's pretty clear to me from the people I've spoken to and the people that they represent that there is a very big disconnect between what council have done so far and it hasn't connected with the people that it affects. And these people are not, these are important people. These are people that have a vested interest in Motueka and the future of Motueka.
Give you assurances that last Thursday there was a conversation had. So I won't say any more than that.
Yep,
but
yep.
All I
Appreciate it.
say is I
Well,
have
in the way.
connected the dots and connected the people, because that's a little bit of what I do, right? So I want to make sure that, yeah, that's all. So the dots are connected a bit more.
Well, I'm smiling. I take that as a little bit of good news. Thank you very much.
Everyone's smiling.
Because I said,
Some great hero.
I've seen what developments can do even around the world, but I mean, I grew up in Whangarei. And there was a big marina development there. And okay, all sorts of hurdles and that sort of thing. But in the end, it's really taking off. Even you just look over at Havelock. That's it's just got to be a success story, and it just bring it at no cost to the council, I reckon. I'll be so bold. So anyway, keep up the good work, John. Appreciate it.
That's okay.
A positive ending.
So that's all our actions. And at the end of the report, you'll see an attachment, which was shared around the board, just overview of the complaint handling process. So some information to digest.
I don't feel that complaint procedure does help, because it just decides on what's urgent. There is no, as I said, it just makes a statement. It needs, I said, there needs to be some, is there effect, because this is the Resource Management Act we're talking about, and what it, I can understand, as I said, if someone's pouring battery acid, or dumping batteries into a creek or something like that, yeah, you need to act quickly. But if it isn't so bad, we need to look at what, it needs to be more specific, that complaints procedure. In other words, what is the issue? What is the complaint? I mean, when nobody knows what the complaint is, no one ever knows, because the Tasman District Council keep it hidden. They protect that. So I have seen a couple of complaints, and it isn't anything to do with something bad. It's merely to do with there's an unconsented dwelling. So the complainant obviously knows their way around council terminology.
So we really would like to get that level of detail of how the priority table works. So immediate is someone's dumping batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could raise that. We can put that forward to Mr. Drummond and have him.
I suggest what you do with Kim is you provide a list of questions just to, let's provide a list of questions so he can prep a little bit. So Kim's he's onto everything, but
It's not cold.
if he's not cold, then you'll get a better outcome, I think.
Yeah, so we'll just have an action.
Yes, very efficient.
Wait, action to question that, and then time for the workshop, which you'll let us know what works for him. Okay, that is the board report. I will move that. Can I have a seconder, please?
I will.
Oh, yes,
Sorry,
of course.
Parker Street oak trees, are we allowed to raise that?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Actual, it's not on our actions.
Well.
It is? Did I miss it?
Small print, you have to blow it up big.
Sorry, I missed it.
I'm just wondering, you may have been CC'd into an email that the CEO got. Have we had any feedback? Like where do we sit? Particularly with liability if someone gets hurt on said trees in Parker Street.
Yes, do we know if there's been a response from council?
Sorry
Okay,
about
it's
that.
Bodhi.
I don't know about that. I'll talk to Leo. I'm catching up with Leo tomorrow. I'll ask that question. It's on private property, isn't it?
No, it's on reserve. So there's 2 oak trees, very big. The land was sold some time ago. Council did advocate for the developers to not build directly near them. They did anyway. It was causing issues.
I haven't.
Yes. Oh, yes. He's going to talk about his days when he worked under the oak trees.
No, not. No, I'm not. I've done that again and again.
It's planted.
When it was
I
planted.
worked there before it was a subdivision.
Yeah.
What I am gonna say is, I find it incredible that a council says you're not doing something and someone does it anyway and gets away with it. That's you and my world. Maybe we need to swoop on how they do this sort of thing. But yeah, the problem is that should have had land all around it, those trees. So there is a problem there that you need to, I suggest they buy the house.
There's
Set it up for,
two houses that are
homeless
significantly
people,
impacted.
Through the chair, so if Chair Graham and I do get flooded, should council buy our houses? Because we made a conscious decision to buy there.
This is always council's argument in that department is you've bought there and, you know, but there could be many reasons of why someone's had to buy somewhere.
I think there's some good legal precedent in terms of what happens if council doesn't take them when there is an accident or something
Yeah.
happens.
Which is
Yes.
why I want it
Spend some
raised,
reasons.
because I know we got the CEO received an email, which I was CC'd into, and I haven't seen a response. And I am concerned about liability for everybody.
Slip down here.
Well, we need to protect the tree, it's protected, and we need to just buy the house. That'll sort it out and set it up for,
I couldn't see it.
So just a bit of
Got that.
context, John, because we haven't built up all of our actions in here, but there has been a bit of work done. So I've met with residents, I've met with staff who've showed trees in other areas and hundreds under the same historic status, and how difficult that would be to change. And from the residents' point of view, it's about compromise. So they would like a reduction in the spread as it has been done on the roadside, because large trucks going under there are going to get whacked. They would like that on the reserve side. So there's a reduction in the size, which is safe for the tree, and it's been suggested 30%. And also the leaf drop. So one of my big concerns, what I put back forward to staff, was with a decrease in services, what will happen for a situation like that, where will the leaf person, picker up a person, come and collect all the leaves regularly still? Because we've had people slip, we've had people on mobility scooters that will go on the road instead of the path because it's too dangerous. And the neighbour that's most affected by the leaf drop spends every day wheelbarrowing leaves back to the reserve, and if there's a gust of wind, it's house. So
I think I alluded to my life in Tulangi, not exactly this way. The ministry decided to plant oak trees everywhere, and that was 50 years ago, and these things are just massive. But none of them were. This is the challenge we've got, is you get that protection, particularly historic trees.
yeah,
You're in resource consent territory,
Yeah.
you're in. So let me just get a bit of background on this and sorry, in terms of Leonie's response, because I'm catching up with it tomorrow. Okay.
that'd be
I'll come
great.
back to you, Darren.
Yep. Well, maybe
so are we talking about the house, which there's two houses which probably would be affected the most. So one would be on the High Street side.
yes.
That's the one that gets affected the most.
That's the one that gets affected from, so there's these little bugs that eat off the sap
Yeah.
of the tree, and then they defecate and die on the roof. And so their roof has been damaged over the years and shade. But the ones that get affected by the leaves are the ones on the reserve side that are sort of tucked in the cul-de-sac. So they get a bit more sun, but they get all the leaves. But there are other residents, because that letter that came through is a different resident, so I'm not sure who that resident is, but they are also impacted by the same trees. Yeah.
I hope they don't grow veggies out the back garden.
Moving on.
Is there a reason around oak trees and veggies?
Yes, there's a real, just trying to work out a way we can sort this without getting rid of a tree.
Yeah, and that's why the
That's where
compromise would be
Must be
the most ideal.
something. that we can do.
Was there anything else that I've missed, guys, in our board report? No?
No?
Okay. I'll move that.
Yeah, I'll second.
Second by Deputy.
You know what? I'm going to get into trouble for this, but I'm going to say no, not at the moment. I feel there should be an offline conversation.
Okay. Yep. Fair enough.
I'm doing that in the interests of
Good work.
moving forward.
Nice. Okay. Okay, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone again? Okay, so the board report is carried, which leads us to the end of our meeting. Is this like 6:30? Okay, we'll finish with our karakia. Kua motu a mātou mahi, o tēnei wā, manaaki tia mai, mātou katoa, o mātou hoa, o mātou whānau, ai ki te aorangi. Our work is finished for the moment. Blessing upon us all, our friends, our families, peace to the universe. So be it. Thank you, everybody.
Yay.